Live. Hello, dreamers, doers, believers, and achievers. I'm Dwayne Shigg, and this is another edition of Talking Books, the place for people who like books, reading them or writing them. And we've got a fabulous guest with us tonight. And I know you followed me, you've heard me, you say that every week. I do say it every time because it's true every time. We just have people that are more fabulouser and fabulouser. I know that's not good English, but it's the way I felt. So tonight, this day, we have Miss DelShanna Moore. She is the author of Undocumented. Very interesting title, very interesting book. And so we're going to introduce her and welcome her to Talking Books. How are you today?
Excellent, blessed, highly favored. Thank you so much for allowing me to be here today.
Oh, no, I thank you for being with us. You're going to do such a great job. It's going to make people think I know what I'm doing. You have a very good book out. Before we jump into that, I want to ask you, Undocumented is the title of your book. Is this your very first book?
It is not. This is my third self-published book. My first two books were centered around a journey from salvation to worship. The book and the workbook, a journey that God took me on to really pull out some issues that I had in my life and expose me to myself and to expose him to me so I understood him and I would know him and I would be more like him. So those were my first two books. This is book number 3.
I like that, to expose me to him. I like that. I'm undocumented. So how long have you been writing, per se, in terms of being an author, with books and things of that nature?
I've been writing probably for the last 25 years, but I hadn't produced anything until 2016. It's just part of the writer's journey to sit down and write and come up with great ideas and then just not get where I needed to go. But with the help of an excellent mentor, excellent coach, I was able to hit the finish line, and now I self-publish.
Oh, great. So why did you start writing? What is not just in terms of this book, we're going to get into that, but in terms of writing, why?
There's something about the word being written that lasts forever. There's something about the stage that doesn't allow that level of permanency that you get with the written word. And so to be able to document, to be able to write things down and leave those impressions in the earth, leaves a legacy, My words will go places I've never been. My words will speak to people I may never meet because they're written down. And there's so much power in the written word. It was just something that I've always been enlightened with, something that I've always wanted to do and just agreed with. And I'm a writer. So that's what I do. I learn because I write. If I don't write it down, I don't know what happened. I wasn't in class. So it's just been writing is just something that I do. I'm a scribe.
All right. I love that. So you're probably one of those people like me that, when whenever you have a thought, if you don't have your pad, you're going to find something, whatever you can, to write it down. Or if you can't put it in your phone, you're writing. Now, you don't write while you drive, do you? Never mind.
I'll plead the fifth. But I will say I've had notepads, I've had notebooks, I've had other people's bills, I've had the back of my bills, napkins, you name it. Write it wherever I can is what I've done.
Okay, I don't feel too bad now. I don't feel alone and feel too bad right now. So, and that means I'm in good company. So, Undocumented, tell us about the book. Give us what is the book about?
This book is about the emotional trauma and the journey towards healing, having been abused as a child or abused a long, long time ago. For me specifically, it was sexual abuse as a child. Okay. And it wasn't just that these were the physical things or the physical attacks on my body, but Undocumented is about the part and the pieces and the parts that people don't talk about and don't write about. And that's the emotions, the self-talk, the dichotomy of the emotional breakdown of love and hate and joy and chaos that goes on within a person's emotions, within myself. Even though I'm a mother, even though I'm a wife, there's just so much that I encounter on a daily basis that leads me right back to the impact and the effects of being abused as a child. So Undocumented is there to expose that and finally put words to paper and give a language to so many who have experienced trauma and didn't know what that was and didn't know why that was and couldn't put it in in language, this book does that for them.
Wow, that is powerful. That is powerful. And so it does all those things. So what caused you to write this book? Not just writing, we talked about writing in general, but what caused you to write this particular book?
I think it's because it's the time and the season of the mouth, according to the Hebrew calendar. And it's time to say it. It's been too long that we've kept quiet, kept silent. Some people have had the courage to speak up and speak out, but so many others remain silent. And so in a time and season where we need to start opening our mouth and decreeing things and declaring things, we also need to declare our own healing. We need to declare our own deliverance by opening up our mouths and doing the same thing. So this was the to release something that hadn't been released before, to release something from a perspective remain hidden even in the midst of people saying me too. Okay, they still weren't talking about this emotional junk that stains our heart and stains our thoughts of how we can even look at ourselves in the mirror, how it affects our sexuality and sexual identity, how it affects our relationships with our children, our spouses, even our family members, even authority figures and leaders. So there's so much involved with having been a survivor and an overcomer of sexual abuse. It's imperative that we begin to release all of it so that those who are there to help can really help, know, and understand how to be a benefit, how to help move everyone forward in their life.
Wow. If you just joined us, we're here on Talking Books with DelShanna Moore, the author of Undocumented. Now, let me ask you, was there any apprehension about putting your business in the streets?
Absolutely. Absolutely. My family is not, they're not hermits. So people know them, people know what I'm talking about. The times and seasons that were going on are very familiar, and lots of other people were around, even though they had no idea what I was going through with the emotional turmoil. And so I struggled with what to say and how to say it. And how other people would be impacted by what I was going to say.
Wow.
But I had to reach a bottom line. And the bottom line was, this isn't about me. And this isn't about my family. This is about those who need something and can't get it, and I'm holding it. I'm holding the keys or the tools or the language or the words that they need to be set free, that they need to make another decision, that they need to move forward. If I continue to worry about myself and the embarrassment and the shame and the guilt, not only will I stay stuck, but I'll keep thousands, if not millions, stuck as well. So I finally got to the point where I said, I can't worry about that. I have to release this. I can't worry about, I have to release this.
So that was what got you over the apprehension, the thought, the understanding that it was bigger than you.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And it is bigger than me.
Right.
It's way bigger than me. Men have had traumatic experiences as children that they've not been given permission to talk about in certain subcultures and groups. And so being able to read these words and understand the message behind this book allows them to define stuff in their own life. So yeah, I'm a woman. I write it from a woman's perspective, but really I write it from the perspective of someone who has lived through trauma, who has been around people in the midst of others who saw me but didn't see me, who heard me but never heard me, who knew me but they had no idea who I was because I was living undocumented.
That title, help us understand the title, because it's such a powerful, provocative title. So as it relates to what you're talking about, help us understand that title.
I'm a ordained minister, so I gotta pray about the stuff that I do. Okay. And so I was praying. I know I gotta release this book. It means something. It's stirring something. What is it gonna be called? What are people gonna remember? What's that name, that title? And that's what Holy Spirit dropped in me, undocumented. And I was like, okay, because what I'm writing about hadn't been documented. No one's talking about that. That's not in the. When people write about their story, people share their story, it's more about the physical components, but not about the ongoing life. It's like forever. It's like the forever issues with what happened way back when, right? And so for the leaders, for the people of authority, for the loved ones, they say things like, oh, you were hurt back then, get over it, move on. But the challenge and difficulty is that you were hurt at a core, at a time of primal development. So where you were hurt is stuck. And it's stuck in you and it's stuck on you. So you have to release it. You have to begin to document those things. I think visions and make them plain. So you have to write the vision of the bad stuff and also make it plain so people can run with it, so other people don't get hurt, so other people don't have to go through that, so other people know how to help, so other people know how to hear, see, and know what's going on in a child's life so they can prevent them from being hurt as well. We have to speak up.
So these abuses, the sexual abuses, they were happening as a child?
Yes.
Okay. Question. What did writing this book do for you, and what will it do for the reader?
One of the things that this book did for me, it helped me cry it out. I've done my work, right? At least I thought I did. I've been to therapy. I've had a spiritual advisor, counselors, therapists, the whole shebang. I've talked through some of these issues and revisited them. I've even helped other people walk through the healing process. But it doesn't mean that I'm done. My work is not finished. Okay. I'm still working in healing. I'm still working to be an overcomer. Why? Because where it hit me was at my core. And so at the core is where things have to be unraveled and exposed and dealt with and removed and all that good stuff. And so one of the things, there are pages in this book that literally, as I type them into my computer, tears rolled consistently from my eyes. Why? Because the pain is real. The pain is present. The pain is still there. I can still have experiences today that directly relate and take me all the way back to being hurt and traumatized as a child. So that's one of the things that it did to me, is help me realize that there's no end date. I don't get the pill to be fixed.
Okay.
And that's the other thing that other people need to know. When you're traumatized as a child, that may be your lifelong journey. But all you do every day is take another step forward. As with anything else in your life, you just keep taking steps forward. You might get stuck. You might stumble. You might fall. You might feel a setback in your emotional life. You might feel a setback in your overcoming, in your healing process. But just know that's okay. You can still get up. You can still rise from it. You can still be productive and effective and helpful in your world, with your people, with your levels, with the people that God sends you to help. Why? Because there's a piece of you that is healed, and that's enough to move forward.
So the reader, what does it do for the reader? It helps them take one more step. It helps them
take one more step. But it also helps them understand all that junk that's been going on the inside of them. I've talked to several people who have read the book completely. And one of the things it did, it peeled away the scars off their heart and allowed their wounds to be exposed so that they can be healed. Wow. The other thing that it's done to some of the people that have read the book was it gave them understanding. They knew they kept doing something. They kept having the same types of relationships. They kept entering into the same types of situations. And all they knew is that they thought they were helping, but they didn't understand the trauma and the emotional trauma that they were still working in and working from was causing them to make bad decisions for them, causing them to hurt themselves, causing them to choose other people's life and livelihood instead of their own, causing them to forfeit everything that they had and give it away to people because of it was associated with the trauma from their past. So this book allows the reader, if they've had trauma, it gives them understanding. But it also allows the reader who's there to help, the ones who love, the ones who care, the ones who lead. It gives them an understanding to help understand who they're working with so that they don't re-victimize, who they're working with so that they don't become part of the problem, but instead they can work toward the solution. If you know that you've got a ministry, if you know you've got a team member, employees that come from this area, it helps you better formulate your tactics. Oh, sorry about that. Your tactics and your ways in which you build people up instead of tear them down. Why? Because you're using negative language. Someone who's experienced trauma, they already have a negative setup. So as soon as you start pushing negative language for them, it just puts them further and further down into a hole. And it's a very, very dark place. But if you don't know that, you just think you're saying something. You just think you're speaking your mind. So this book is powerful, even for leaders and people of authority to better communicate with the people that they work with.
That's a good segue to what I was going to ask you. Who is the audience? Who is this book for? Who should buy this book? Who should read this book?
The people who should buy, read, give away this book are people who have experienced trauma in their life. People who love people who've experienced trauma in their life.
Wow.
Because when you love someone who comes from a tough background, from some tough experiences, you have some challenges, and you don't understand why you love them, and they think you don't. Why? What does it take for me to convince you that I love you?
Ooh.
Right? It's where they come from, that emotional trauma that doesn't allow them to be able to receive love or think that the love is real, because the natural construct for love was broken down somewhere in that abuse.
Wow. Okay.
Okay. It's all those people who work in a field with emotional trauma, right? So you can be a better employee and a servant to those you serve. Because if you don't understand, you will be the problem in their life in a framework of you saying you're trying to help them, and you're not. You can't, because you don't even understand. You're not even getting it. And it's also for leaders and people of authority to know, understand, realize, and recognize that they can be part of the problem or part of the solution. Wow. They can choose. They can choose. They can hear the story. They can understand the concepts. They can get a brief on the message, and they can choose to speak the language that is self-hatred or love. They can speak a language that divides or brings together. They can speak the language that understands or puts us under. So that's what the book is for. Leaders and people in authority, people who are in the field to help with people who've experienced trauma, people who love people who've experienced trauma, and those who experience trauma.
Powerful, powerful, powerful. We've got a couple more minutes. I wanted to ask you, this book is more than, or if I'm understanding you correctly and you help me, this book is not just a book of I was hurt, I was hurt, I was hurt. It's what after that? Okay, I'm telling you I was hurt. So it's about overcoming. It's about,
Yes.
It's not a revenge book. I'm going to get you.
No, not at all.
It's for overcomers.
Yes. That first piece is really about the whole concept of being unseen, unheard, and unknown.
Okay.
And then it does make a turn. It makes a shift. And the shift is, there's a truth here that I entered into. And that was, I don't have to apologize for being DelShanna. Right now, this is who I am. I don't have to say sorry, because the way I look, or the way I move, the way I sound, the way I put things together, my understanding, my concepts, I don't have to apologize for that. Hello. Nice to meet you. I'm DelShanna. You understand? And so there's so much in culture, right? There's so much in culture that has people apologizing for their own personal nuances, but those are there for a reason until they're not. And so I don't have to apologize for that. I can live a life unapologetically.
Okay.
The next piece of that is, I can be who I am. Because of my trauma, I will enter into buildings and go places with people and hide myself, almost like a chameleon or an invisible person. I don't have to do that. Hello, I am DelShanna, and I am present.
I'm here.
I can be me, and that's okay. And so there's a piece towards the end of the book that really gets to a place where we say, hey, I am unapologetically, authentically me. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. And yes, it comes with an attitude, but that attitude is built on the power and strength of being healed, being set free from the darkness that just hovered over me and covered me and would tell me that I wasn't good enough, I wasn't worth it, nobody cared, nobody wanted to hear. Those are lies. Those are absolute lies. The truth is, I am DelShanna Moore.
Yes. And so this book will allow the reader to put in I am, and then put their name right there.
Absolutely. And get to that place where it's like, this is who I am. And there's so much power when you claim the power of I am. What comes after I am is. right? That's the power of our spoken word. What comes
Right.
after I am is, who are you? Is
Uh,
one of the questions in the book. Who are you?
oh my
Who,
goodness.
who are you? You let other people tell you who you are? No, you show up. One day you show up. One day you show up. You show up. And I showed up. I said, hey, I am DelShanna Moore.
I showed up.
I
Yeah.
showed up.
I
I
love
showed
it.
up.
I
I
love it.
conclude the book with a commitment. Why? Because this isn't just about us having our personal healing. There's a work that's required. And part of that work is that we commit to paying attention to the things that we've turned our backs on for so many years. When we see things that don't look right, that aren't right, that are inappropriate and outright illegal, that we say something, that we see something and we say something. There's a list of hotline numbers at the end of the book, so we can make phone calls to helplines, to pull people out of sex trafficking, to pull children out of abusive
Oh,
environments, whatever the case might be, to get help having been a sexual assault victim. Okay. And then there's a commitment statement that we commit to do our part. It doesn't go away. They say the oldest sin is still the oldest sin.
right.
And so it doesn't go away. And they've gotten more creative with how to make it, to build the industry of sex trafficking and the like. And so if we don't stop ignoring it, it will just get worse and eventually knock on our front doors. We have to make it uncomfortable for those things to exist. And we do that when we make a personal commitment to be part of the solution.
Undocumented. Last question. What was your turning point? When did you get the break to go from, and I love this, what you called in your description, you called an emotional dichotomy of self-hate, self-love. Give us quickly the turning point, the breaking point, so that you could say, I'm DelShanna.
My breaking point was God and the power of Holy Spirit and the power of the Bible and the Word of God. Why? Because I found out in the Bible that I was beautifully and wonderfully made. That means I'm not ugly.
Right.
I found out in the Bible that He never leave me and never forsake me. That means I'm not alone. I found out in the Bible that He is with me, that He gave me peace. That means where does chaos come from? I found out in the Bible that He didn't give me fear, but He gave me love, power, and a sound mind. Then why do I feel crazy? So if I stick with what God said about me, if I stick with what the Word of God said about me, then this other stuff I've been experiencing and these words that have been going on in my head and this conversation I've been having is contrary to what God said about me. And so let's focus in on what God said about me. And that's the breaking point for me, is that I started to concentrate and focus on what He said by using affirmations. I wrote things on paper. I am a great person. I am loving. I am lovable. I am kind. I am beautiful. I would write these on cue cards and place them in front of my mirror every morning. So when I'm brushing my teeth, I'm reading them. When I'm doing my hair, I'm reading them. I would have Post-its around my office and Post-its around my bedroom, around my bed. Why? So that what I had coming in me had more to do with what God said about me than what was in my head and the subconsciousness of my past. And so it broke.
Wow.
It just broke.
Wow.
It just broke. So when fear showed up, it was like, fear, we don't do that. That's contrary to what I believe.
Right.
I believe this over here. And because I believe this over here, that doesn't fit anymore. And when it doesn't fit, it's gotta go.
Definitely, definitely. Woo! Miss DelShanna Moore, author of Undocumented. Powerful book, powerful book. Can we see what the cover looks like?
Absolutely. Here it is.
Undocumented. So now, where can people get the book? How can they get it?
You can get your copy of the book on Amazon at any time. You can get both the printed copy and the ebook. But if you want me to sign it, if you want an autographed copy, you want to go to my website. My website is IamWrappedInHisWord.com. I am WRAPPED wrapped in His Word.com. And not only will you get the book, I will also sign the printed copy and put it in the mail to you.
Wow. So people want to contact you to have you come and speak or whatever the case may be. How can they contact you?
They can also contact me on the website, or they can send me an email at DelShanna Moore. What's the email? Oh, DelShannaMoore@gmail.com. That's DelShannaMoore@gmail.com. And I will be glad to respond and share.
Miss DelShanna Moore. author of Undocumented, a powerful book. If you know someone that has been a victim of trauma, sexual trauma, it's not just for people who deal with sexual molestation or trauma. Is it for different kinds?
Correct.
Okay.
Any type of trauma. Yes.
If you know someone, this would be a great gift, a great healing gift. If you know someone that has been through what Miss DelShanna has talked about, this would be a great thing to give them. You can give them for Christmas, or sometimes, as the Stevie Wonder song says, "No, you New Year's Day to celebrate. I just called to say I love you." You can just give them the book for what I call just for the heaven of it. Some people do things just for that other word, but you can give somebody something just for the heaven of it. And so this gift, tell us one more time before we close, because I'm already over time. I'm sorry for taking too much of your time. Tell us one more time how people can get the book.
You can get the book at my website, I am wrappedinhisword.com, or Amazon. Iamwrappedinhisword.com or Amazon.
Thank you so much, Miss DelShanna Moore. I greatly appreciate it. This book is going to be powerful and helpful to so many people. And so, as I said, if you need this book or you know someone that could use it, go to the website, go to Amazon, or go to the website and get the book. And if you have a book that you'd like to talk about on Talking Books, you can contact us at drshigg@gmail.com, drshigg@gmail.com, and want to help all authors understand that the dream is doable, and we want to help you go get it. You stay encouraged. Continue to talk about books. Miss DelShanna, thank you so much. I greatly appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Not a problem. I'm Dwayne Shigg. This has been Talking Books. Thank you so much for being with us, and we'll see you next time on Talking Books.